Welcome back. We're still talking about social and emotional development as individuals. Individualism, the philosophy of resolve. You know, you are a human being. You're made of parts, inside parts and outside parts. And there has been conflict in your life in one way or the other. And you need to resolve them. You can't do it. Can't nobody supernaturally put their hands inside of you and just start rearranging stuff and make everything all right. But we have been equipped as total packages, as human beings, as whole people. And we have been designed to handle these things or we die. You know, your body has natural healing mechanisms. When I cut myself on my hand, I develop a scab and platelets come and stuff and start the healing. I have no control of it. I didn't tell my mind to develop a scab. It's a natural mechanism that I have on the inside of me. When I was born with, I have red blood cells and white blood cells in my body. I have an immune system. When I get a cold, natural stuff start working and antigens and stuff start helping me heal. And we have that mechanism as human beings, as individuals. That's what the term individualism comes from. Not that it's based on total egotisticalness and self-reliance totally. Yes, it's talking about self-reliance and stuff. I can rely on my healing mechanisms. Yeah, because it's a part of me. That's no bad word. I'm saying it's not about selfishness. Because when I'm whole and I'm healed, I can help somebody else. Now, when you go through your life, we talked about in last segment about negativities, thoughts, habits, hurts, and hang-ups that you go through and it persists, and you can develop thoughts that can be negative and affect other areas and keep you from growing. But you know, and but there's healing mechanisms in us to help us come out of that thought. And when we come to cognition and we realize, hey, I can change and I want to change, that's the healing is starting to. Even the thought of having, hey, this is bad for me. I got to get out of this situation. This relationship ain't going nowhere. It's killing me. I got to get out of it. This job is the dead end. These people that I'm socializing with is about, you know, getting me in trouble. I need to get away from them. That thought within itself is a part of the healing mechanism. But there are also mechanisms that we have in life that causes us to socialize with people and cause us to interact. It's just natural part of us. It's a natural part of every human being to want for recognition and regard from other people and acceptance. It's all a part of us. Don't think you wimp and you soft because you won't be accepted by somebody. You are human. Human beings want to be accepted by others. Human beings want to be regarded in some way by those they admire and those they are close to, get physically close with, to emotionally and mentally close. You know, you want that as a human being. And when you was in that situation that you was in and you had to stay in it, that continued. You might pretend like you was a loner all the time, but even in your loneness, you bonded and you reflected with somebody. Even when you tried to isolate yourself, nothing hinder you or nothing inside of you that stopped that says that you had to cut completely off from somebody because you couldn't do it. Because you died. It's just a proven point. If you was capable of doing it completely, because you would need, you know what? If a lot of people go on hunger strikes in prison, they don't stay on it long. You know why? Because other people around. If they were the only person around living in that situation, they can go on a hunger strike and kill themselves and come out of it. I'm guaranteed you. But if there was nobody else around, they wouldn't go on a hunger strike. There's no reason to go on a hunger strike when ain't nobody else around. If I was on a deserted island by myself, what in the hell am I gonna go on a hunger strike for? Why? What I got to? That's crazy. The reason why you're going on a hunger strike and you misbehaving and you trying to get attention from somebody. And I'm gonna tell you now, don't dispute that. You're trying to get attention when you go on a hunger strike because you either got a point to prove, you got some issues that need to be heard, and they ain't doing what you suppose that you want to be done, and they feel like, okay, now, they ain't supposed to let nobody go over here without eating. That's socialization now. They ain't supposed to go, that's dealing with regard, recognition, acceptance, and stuff by others. It has to do with intertwining and interacting. Don't act like that you on the island by yourself. Don't and feel like, oh, I ain't gonna say nothing to nobody. I even seen people say, they go on a strike from talking. They go on a strike from talking. Ain't said nothing to nobody. And I've seen it in prison. I seen one guy didn't talk for months and months, and then when he first said something, his throat was hurting and everything, soreness and everything. I seen it, man. It don't act like it don't happen. And I was amazed. People say, he hadn't talked for 18 months. I'm saying, get the hell out of here. No. You mean to tell me that man ain't talked for 18 months to nobody? He's amazing. That was an amazing person. He was able, but there's something going on up there. And I met the person, they would seem to be a very nice individual. But they had some issues. That's the only way. They felt like they can get to be, and they did it. Because God knows that he wanted to be in the Guinness Book of Records for not being talking and having the ability to talk. But all jokes aside, it's just the point of that we are human beings and we were made to socialize, interact, and to be accepted and have regard for one another. And it does not stop regardless of where you're at. Even in the military, even in marriage, and situations goes array, we still are social beings, and that we were made and designed to interact with one another and someone else besides yourself. And that's just the bottom line. So that didn't happen. But what happens is you get out and where you can go on hunger strike at? At your house, at home? You got to go out there in the pub. You got to go in front of the public, the town square, or get some news media or somebody to see you going on a hunger strike for it to count. You can't go on a hunger strike by yourself. Sociably, you got to have, for its recognition. If you want to be recognized, in other words, there got to be somebody there to recognize you and to count and note that, okay, he has some complaints and he needs some help. There's proper ways of doing it. Okay, now, in the state that I'm in, and they have food stamps. You get out, you ain't got nowhere to stay. They got shelters just about everywhere. In the United States, it's hard to freeze out in the cold, but it happens. It happens now. I'm not acting like it doesn't happen. It does. I'm just saying, it's difficult because they do have shelters and stuff. Usually, I know drugs and alcohol, people that have addicts, they don't seek help. When people have psychological problems, they just don't, mental health problems, they don't seek the normal route for help. And I understand that. And I don't have all the information to that, but I know that's the basics and the practicality of it, and just the common sense of it. But at the same time, that every one of us have a way of getting our needs met properly in an orderly fashion without being causing disturbance, harm to ourselves or harm to others. And if you don't get that straightened out in your head and realize it and become aware of it, then the half the battle is won. But if you don't get that straightened out in your head, you're gonna have some conflict when you get out, and you feel like you ain't gonna you're gonna be worried. And it's gonna be overwhelming. I got to eat, sleep, and drink, and be fed and shelter. My basic needs got to be met. And you can be in a rat race, trying to get your basic needs met, and being frustrated and mad, and the conflicts begin to rage, and you're gonna hurt yourself and somebody else. But you don't have to go that route. Think about it. Be calm. The problem is, if you try to live beyond your means, the conflict's gonna rise. You're gonna go back to selling drugs. If you live beyond where you at, educationally, emotionally, intellectually, the conflict is gonna rise, and the conflict is going to continue. Be realistic. Let's slow down. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have bukus of money but you know what? I got to start where I'm at. I got a little money in the bank, so I got to start where I'm at. I got to, then work up my way towards something, get goals, short-term goals, and then start accomplishing those short-term goals, and I feel a little bit more strength and more better about myself, and I can start accomplish and seeing some of those long-term goals fulfilled. But it's all in it. See, that social thing and that emotional thing intertwines. It's the way I feel emotionally is how I'm going to deal with social issues of regard, of acceptance. Now, if I accept myself and accept the state that I'm in, and I'm growing, and I can come out and I have abilities and I'm confident, and I start accepting those things about myself, my strengths and my weaknesses, and I start accepting and I start embracing myself, loving myself, and regarding myself as a person that is capable, then I can regard and have respect and see that in others. But the conflict persists when I can't even see it in myself. And then I'm going to have a problem with you. If I can't even see it in myself, I'm going to act like a butthole towards you. And that's the bottom line. But I tell you, didn't have to go. We also have social desires to identify with or be liked by other people who are admired and loved. We all have that. Idols and stuff that somebody we like on TV, entertainment, don't even know the people, but we admire them, like them. I got some today. They ain't never met them, but I would love to meet them because they're human beings. It's just it's just one of them natural desires in you to feel that way. But what if it's the wrong person? What it was Satan himself, and I loved him, and I just admired how he hurt people. That's the wrong person. That's the wrong person to admire. You know what I'm saying? But you can get to a point where you like the person, the villain. There comes a time when the people fall in love with the villain. You know what the villain represents? The villain represents everything I'm lashing back against what people did to me. Oh, that's what the villain do. The villain gets back. The villain got a get back game. He'll cut you. He'll cut you, shoot you, blow your head off. People love Scarface. You know what? A lot of times Scarface was the victim turned to a villain. In my opinion, that's up to your interpretation. Scarface, the movie. Well, anyway, I'm old enough to know that movie, but I'm just saying I like the movie and I like Scarface. But I'm saying is a lot of times I like the victim because the victim was the man that got back. You got songs out there now, F the police. They love that song because the song is getting back at the egos. You live in a society where we just villainize the police. The police ain't the villains. Just because one person, one cop, or 2 or 3 cops or 10 cops do it. All the cops on the police force ain't bad people. Come on now. It's just a lie. And you know, that just say all black people are criminals and thieves and stuff because them and people are locked up. You know. That's what it is. And so you know, that's what it's being about. So everybody got a tendency to imitate somebody else. You know, sons imitate their fathers, and daughters imitate their mothers. Some sons imitate their mothers because the father ain't there. I mean, well, that's just one part of it. But I'm saying is this is a part of our socialization, part of the mechanisms that encourage humans to become social beings, and this is a part of it. And I'm gonna tell you, it didn't stop. It ain't gonna stop now. It ain't gonna stop when you're 30. It ain't gonna stop when you're 40, 50, or 60. It's gonna continue to be in this way as a human being. And you know, you can say that's debatable or not. I don't really care. I know some facts. You know, you experience some stuff. I'm talking about what you experience, person and man, woman. I'm talking about my fellow inmate, my fellow person that's been incarcerated and institutionalized. I'm talking about my fellow person. You've been through what ain't nobody else in this country. Everybody else can debate these facts. You, prisoner, you can't debate it because you know what you've been through in that situation. Now you got to come out. Let everybody else debate. You deal with the reality of your situation. Why they debating? Because I'm gonna tell you, that's why self-help groups are wonderful. Because you know what, in self-help groups, AA, NA, and some of the, you know, them people get in there, they've been through stuff, and they start talking about each other's experiences. This is what I've been through. You can't tell them what they ain't been. They've been through what they said they've been through now. You can get in a book and try to philosophize it, but they're helping each other, and those groups work. Because it's one person sharing with the other person what they've been through, their experience, strength, and hope, and they're coming out and they're giving each other encouragement and a support group, and they're helping each other come out of it. Them are the professionals in that of addictions and whatnot. They're helping each other, and it's working. Bill and Bob and them had a good idea, and I think it came from heaven, wherever heaven is. I think it came from them, and they, you know, and it helped other people. But I'm saying is that we have a tendency to imitate others, and especially we try to do it, especially financially. Where we see, you know, I don't care how old you are, you see somebody making millions and stuff, and they trying to get their secret out. People be copying that secret. Come on, that's the truth. Okay then, well, we come down to an end of another session. Got to do 15 minutes a piece, and I went over a little bit, but I'm saying this is beautiful. I love it. I love the conversation. And let's continue to talk about this. We've got one more session on social and emotional development as it relates to us coming out and coming. Now, remind you that we are becoming aware of certain things that happen in our situation now that we're transitioning out. We're knowing that there's certain conflicts that's going to happen as a result of you being in the new situation. But becoming aware of it is one of the first steps of change, becoming aware. And if I can become aware, I can change. Now this is what happens. Think about this. You have a thought. You have a thought, and with those thoughts comes feelings, emotions, and stuff, and intentions. Usually when you have a thought, you have the feelings, emotion, intentions. Then you speak it out. Well, man, dang, I'm tired of this mess. I thought that, now I'm saying it, that I'm tired of this mess. It don't necessarily mean that I'm doing anything about the mess. I'm just saying that I'm tired of it. Man, I'm tired of this mess. I had a thought first saying that I was tired of it. Then after the speech, there usually comes action. You know what the action is when you get tired of something, you turn your back on it. Stuff is going over here, man, I'm tired of this mess. I turned my back on. My action was to turn my back away from it and to go on away, to get away from it. That's good. If there's crime going over there that caused me being incarcerated, I need to turn my back on it. thought, speech, action. And then, after I have acted on it, and I continue to act on it, I develop a habit. So now, I said, man, I thought about it. I'm tired of this mess. I turn my back. I turn away from it. That was an action. And now, as I continue to, every time I see it, I'm turning my back on it. I look over here and I see it, I turn my back on it. I have gained a habit from turning my back on it. When I see criminal activity that I'm tired of seeing it. Tired of seeing folks strung out. I'm getting away from it. I don't want to be in that situation no more. I'm developing a habit. Now I'm developing a track record of turning away from it every time I see it, because I'm developing a habit now. I got a track record. And now, after I have developed the habit, I am gaining character. Now, man, that man as a person, he tired of it. Every time I see him, he turning his back away from that situation. He just got tired of that. He's a strong person. He's a person that's thinking. That's a character defines you. You don't get defined automatically. You get defined after the thought, the spoken word out of your mouth, the action that you take, the habits that you develop, and the character. Now you can be defined as a person that's turned away from one situation. That doesn't mean you turn into a brand new. Now you got to find out something new, because that's going to help you continue. If you find something new to do, but if you just keep turning, ain't got nothing to do, and every time you turn, you seeing that same thing, it's going to be later on. Who's to say that it won't tempt you to go back into it? But I tell you what, we're going to talk about this some more. It has been a pleasure and an honor talking to you again. Let's talk some more about these things. Can we? Meet me next time.